This episode of The Patch is brought to you by Hulu Plus. Watch your favorite shows anytime, anywhere with Hulu Plus. On your TV or on the go with your smartphone or tablet. Shows like Family Guy, Once Upon a Time, New Girl, Scandal, and more. Right now you can try Hulu Plus free for 2 weeks when you go to huluplus.com/patch.
Hey, it's The Patch.
Welcome to The
Wait,
Patch.
something's missing. Something G-related is missing.
Something angry.
It's Gavin running by with a Pokemon to
It's
throw at
Gavin.
you.
Well, no, Gavin, I'm sure that'll come later. Goose. We're missing gooses.
Yeah, Gus is out today.
All right, Gus.
I figured he probably didn't want to come on and have me go, hey, Gus, Diablo 3 to him just constantly because I just started playing it.
Yeah, Ashley
And
picked up
so-
Diablo 3 and got sucked in completely.
I'm several years
You're so
late to the
far
game.
behind the curve on that
So
one.
far behind the curve. But we're in the middle of summer. It's sort of new release game drought. So this is a perfect time to
It's true.
go back to, lost games. But I just found it, and Gus has, long since completed it. And I keep going up to him going, hey, Gus, I just got this thing. It's so exciting.
Well, I'm going to pour one out for our lost Gus. There it is.
There it is. It's an hour-long
Gus.
pour for you guys. We will try to hit exactly
slow pour.
at 60 minutes and 0 seconds.
Well, that's why I waited a minute, because this is actually not an hour.
We're talking like he's dead. In memory of Gus. We should have a little thing with Gus's highlights played over some Whitney Houston music or something like that a little bit later
Can
in
it
the
be
show.
sung by Achievement Hunter? We just have this.
Let's hope so. We'll get Michael and Gavin on the mic.
Who's
Well, I
going to
guess
hit the
we'll-
high notes?
All of us. We can do it. So this time, without Gus, we have
Burnie?
Ashley.
and Ryan, and of course the spirit of Gus, who is always with us.
Always.
He lives in this timer, actually, when he's not in this room.
I should make Gus the alarm tone for when my timer counts down. All right, I'm pulling up our list of topics that Ryan
Well, you know what
conveniently sent out to us.
we should start with, because I've been ending with it for several podcasts now. We're going to start with FTL.
So happy to talk about
you
this.
keep just teasing it
I
and
do.
drawing it out.
Well, it's because I was on a 1 win per week kind of run there, so I'm up to 4. I'm 4 wins, easy,
Are you really?
advanced, yeah. And with 4 different ships too. I haven't done it repeat a ship yet. And I did check that stat. Burnie was telling me about a stat that you can see how many games played.
Correct?
I believe I had an update today, but it's probably around 110.
110.
110 for 4 wins. So about 27, 28 plays per win.
All right. Well, you beat me in that. Not only do you have more wins than I do, but I have 1 win now on FTL. I got my win last week finally after having the game for a year and a half, maybe more, maybe 2 years. And I had 140 games played when I got my first win. But I think also my kid JD might have a couple games in there.
Well,
But
that probably starts tracking before Advanced came out too, right?
it definitely does.
So Advanced, I think you mentioned you thought Advanced may have made it easier.
I think so. I think I'm not sure if flat cannons were part of the original setup, and flat cannons are just my go-to now for
Really?
just destruction.
Well,
Yeah,
but it also had a lot more a new medical systems, didn't it?
The Clone Bay,
which I
There we
hate.
go.
You hate the Clone Bay. What's wrong with the Clone Bay?
I'm old school. I like putting people in a chamber and
old
healing
school.
them. But I got to point out, I know maybe not a lot of people have played
Old school
FTL.
spaceship.
old school
I
intergalactic
like
combat.
classic space fighting. Thank you.
But actually, it's very relevant to talk about FTL, even though it is an older game now. It's about 2 years old. It is currently right now the daily deal on Steam. That game, you have played 110 games. I've played 143 games now. That game is $3.99 right now on Steam.
Oh yeah.
That might be pound for pound, dollar for dollar, the best value that I've had in gaming in 10 to 20 years at this point.
I bought that game on Steam specifically because I've heard so many good things from so many people, and you in particular, even though you hadn't beat it. Mm-hmm. But I've never played it because I'm not sure I want to play a game that I'll never be able to beat.
Yeah,
I get so
Believe in
frustrated
yourself,
with hard
Ashley.
games.
It's okay.
yeah.
It's just a persistence game. It's not really even necessarily a skill when it comes down to it, to some degree.
There's a little bit of a roll of the dice
Yeah.
every time you play it, but that kind of makes it fun as well. I never feel like the game is cheating me.
Yeah.
If I like my ship blows up on Sector 2, I just feel like I just didn't reach my potential. I don't know if that's a good feeling after a game to feel like you're
Should have studied
operating at a lower
harder in
level.
intergalactic space combat school.
Well,
Yeah.
you were playing it again last night, and you almost got to the end, and then you forgot a door closed, and that was it. That was
Yeah.
just that was the beginning of
That's
the end
great.
for you.
I
I
had
love when those happens.
unlocked. I was going for an achievement. The best thing about the game is there's no Steam achievements on it, but there's in-game achievements, and it basically unlocks the ship. It's its own trophy system in a way, where you just get different variations of the ships with different initial weapon loadouts and different layouts of the rooms, which actually is really important. And I unlocked the Lania ship, and that's a new alien race that they added, which sucks all the oxygen out of rooms. And so there's an achievement associated with it where you run your ship at less than 20% oxygen. And I don't know what happened. I closed the door at some point on my ship and filled the rooms with oxygen. I didn't realize it for like a couple different jumps, and then I was at 60% oxygen.
I'm so mad about that one, too, because I just last night, I'm just going through at this point trying to clean up those little missing achievements here and there, not because it gets you anything, because I've already unlocked all but the crystal ship, but just to do it. And I did the whole run all the way up to Sector 8, oxygen below 15 the whole way, didn't unlock.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that stinks.
Did you immediately go on forums and complain? Because I believe that's the next step. That's the first step in technical support is bitching on the internet.
I resisted the urge to immediately take to the internet to bitch.
See, you know
I
what
kept
would
that
be
in here.
You know what would have been a perfect use of your Twitter account is internet bitching about achievements that don't unlock.
You know, I like to keep that for just
what else
random
is Twitter
sardonic
for?
comments, really. That seems to be my
What,
speed
your
on
Twitter account?
Yeah.
Are you using Twitter now?
I think I'm up to a grand total of like 10,
Oh,
15.
I totally tried to call out you and Gus. I was really trying to call it Gus because I
Yes.
beat FTL finally, and I did that, but I had no like illusion that you were actually going to see that tweet. So I'm glad to hear that you actually use it.
I heard about it after the fact from someone else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
and
the
then,
way the Twitter
I
works.
went and tried to look it up and couldn't find it. So that's how good I am at Twitter. Like, I couldn't locate a tweet I knew existed.
That sounds like the full Twitter experience.
Yeah, I was going to say it's because I was going to explain all the reasons that you couldn't find it. And then I realized that would be pointless because it's just going to go, in 1 year?
Yeah, no, I show up and make a little statement and then I leave. And that's my Twitter.
But
I dip to my toes.
One thing I love about FTL as a game is I've always loved like 4X combat simulators, you know, like 4X strategy games, like Masters of Orion.
You know, it
FTL
took me ages to find out what 4X meant.
I'm not sure I know.
It's like explore, expand, then 2 other X's.
None of these are X
No
words.
X words. Yeah.
But it's all like it's EX, and they just call it 4X's.
Is it a 4EX?
4X.
4X.
Okay. You guys said the at the beginning to make it make sense.
Yeah, it's so here we go.
X.
Explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate.
Exploit.
I've never known what that meant. I've always been like, oh, it's a 4X strategy game.
Quite frankly,
And,
though.
and no one else knows, but so they have
I've
to
only
nod their
known what
head
they are
sagely
by
like, yes,
association.
yes, we know too. We're all in on this knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just go, oh, it's kind of like Civish.
I just want to see
I have
if
to
you knew.
base it all off that.
Actually, but when you talk about that, those 4 tenets sound like the way I approach every single video game, essentially.
Oh yeah, that's every game.
Yeah, but it applies to these basic strategy games. They're usually space sim strategy, not even sim really, but you know. And then one thing I like about FTL, which is great, is that you can play it as a real-time game, or what I think makes it kind of unique these days is that when you can pause it and then you can run all your commands and then unpause it and let it run, which is necessary in a lot of cases. At least the way I played this.
Well, I mean, honestly, I've been mainly playing on the iPad version of it. Because I got it on Steam. I was like, oh, this is fun, but this doesn't integrate well into my life at the moment. iPad is perfect for just
But
being
how
able
often
to
do you
carry it
have your
around.
Young kiddos
iPad
and all
from the
that?
fungus?
From the fungus?
Well, you know, your little boo.
I don't refer to him as a fungus.
Not anymore.
I'm pretty sure that would
I'm
be
pretty sure
emotionally
you-
damaging to his future self.
All right, I'm pretty sure
Wait, how
have.
you doing, little thing that grows off my life, little lichen?
You say that, but I'm almost positive you have referred to your kid as a
No,
fungus.
that was a separate conversation about
bastardization.
pubert. That was pubert. That was this whole other thing.
That-
So wait, pubert is a fungus.
Pubert is a fungus, yes, who is not my child, but somehow became a child. Anyway, when he sleeps,
I've lost a lot of context.
he
at this point.
sleeps, so I get it back when he goes to bed.
Well, the iPad back.
The
And you
iPad
just,
comes
and
back
you
to
just play
playing
in its
FTL?
enormous case.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the big case?
In the big case, yeah. I thought about bringing that. I should have, so
Is
I
it
could
like-
have like clubbed things.
Is it like playing it on a gigantic CRT TV?
Kinda, yeah,
A handheld one.
yeah, and it keeps the covers in place. Like they're not going anywhere once you pin them down with that thing.
But I wanted to say with the way the combat works in FTL,
Mm-hmm.
you sent one of the things we're talking about this week is Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah.
They released a combat trailer. And I didn't play the first Dragon Age. I know it was very popular. And they did something really cool. They actually did a marketing series with Felicia Day that was a web series for Dragon
Was
Age.
that for
did.
Dragon Age or was that for Dragon Age or 2?
I consider those to be the same thing.
think it's
I get
2,
really
but-
confused because they had Dragon Age Origins, and then
yeah.
they had Dragon Age 2, and now there's Dragon Age Inquisition, so they're dropping the number again.
Yeah, it's like Rambo. You know, Rambo First Blood, Rambo
I just
7. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed, which is
Rocky.
also on our list to talk
That
about
was in
today.
the list too, right?
Yeah, Assassin's Creed 2.4, 2.3.
Well, the reason I mentioned the iPad though is the iPad works where whenever you hit a weapon, it pauses automatically to select where to target it. So
Okay.
it has a lot more stop and go to it than the real time of the PC playthrough.
Yeah, you have to actively remember to hit pause and stop the game and like assign all your commands and then let it run. Mm-hmm. But in this Dragon Age Inquisition combat trailer they put out, it was basically the same thing to me, where you could run your RPG style combat in real time, or there was this tactical mode that you could go in where you could just drop down and assign all these values and then let it run from there. What are you smiling about? You like that?
No, I'm just being a really, really slow Barbara, and I just thought that if it's a fungus,
Oh, God.
it's not such a bad thing.
Boo. You just blew the back of the wall off. That's why it's over there now.
I'm way too pleased with myself. It's so bad.
If Barbara's like at her desk right now, like someone's making a pun right now and I'm not there.
My language is being spoken in the building. Yeah, no, actually, it seems like it was more akin almost to elements of XCOM. The newer XCOM game kind of came into it a little bit too, where it's not as like tile and square based, but it does seem to have more of that top down tactical, like you're talking about.
Yeah, but you could just go in and like, and I wonder how it would work. And in the narration that they had along with it, the voiceover, I didn't hear how it works on a multiplayer level or even if that exists. But it said essentially you had a choice where you could go in, hack and slash, do it in real time, make it more like an action game, or if you want to make it more like a traditional RPG, you just stop it and issue the commands and almost make it on demand turn based kind of game,
Yeah, which
is
I like.
great.
I'll probably try both ways.
Yeah. I was always like that with RTS games, where it was like the first keys I learned when playing RTS games is the key to increase and lower the speed of the game, like the time of it, because that would drive me insane. I'm not one of those guys who can issue like 95 clicks per minute or whatever they do.
Yeah, Dragon Age
300.
Inquisition got delayed.
Yeah, it did.
So it's now, well, it's weird though,
Pushed
because it got
it to
delayed out of
November.
October. And I know they're saying that they're going to give it extra polish and all that sort of stuff. But I always like to figure out like what the rest of it is, and I just assume that it's because they don't want to be in October because so many games are in October.
That's a good month to
then
dodge, yeah.
But they're also moving it back into the Halo collection and Call of Duty and a couple of other like major games, because November is also a really big month. Someone else, what game was it? Got moved forward.
That's what I was about to mention. That
Yeah.
Shadow of Mordor, actually.
There we go. That got moved forward to September.
I've never heard of a move forward before, actually.
I had before. I can't recall what title it would be, but
It's
yeah.
only moving forward a week, but it's also moving forward to get out of October.
Yeah. Buy me first, then those other guys.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean,
I don't play with my looks.
I mean, it's a new franchise, where they're trying to launch it and trying to get some traction. It's one of the ones that I'm most excited about for the end of the year, is Shadow of Mordor. Every time I see like any kind of documentary or any kind of developer diary about it, I get more and more excited about that game.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That Nemesis system that they
Seeing
put
it
out.
E3 was a lot of fun. A lot of it looked impressive before, but then actually seeing it, and as they're saying we're doing this and we're doing this, and you could see the results from the live play, it just really drove home.
I gotta say, I was never before this year, maybe the last 2 years, I was never much of a big replayability guy where I would, unless it was multiplayer. To me, the campaign was something that you played, and then replayability entirely to me was multiplayer matches with other players. That's all it was. But now I'm really getting into games that are smaller games like FTL or Contagion, where they're smaller, more encapsulated experiences, where I can sit down, I can play for like 30 or 40 minutes, and that's enough, and I have high replayability for those games. Like on Contagion, I've played like the escape mode, probably about 40 or 50 times, I think, at this point. And so when you talk about like the Nemesis system in Shadow of Mordor, how it changes up the game as you go through, that's really appealing to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the games that have more of an open world kind of feel are very different playthrough to playthrough. So it's a very different experience.
I always have a problem with trying to replay those kind of games where I'll start off and I'll be one kind of character. I'm a thief archer this time.
Uh-huh.
And then I'll go, next time I'm going to go through as a battle mage. Within like 3 hours, I'm back to a bow and arrow.
You're like a stealth mage. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I
3
just
hours.
drop the magic entirely.
You
It's
just whisper fire as you lightning
Yeah.
bolt.
That's the first day of magic school. That's how they do it.
Yeah, I like so I try the replayability, but I don't get variety out of myself. I just keep defaulting back to the same kinds of characters.
Yeah, when Ashley picked up Diablo 3, I like loaded up my character because I'd done a run through with JD a couple years ago when it came out, And I had my initial character was a barbarian character, and I never do that. But then I realized it was my kid playing, so I was tanking for my kid essentially. And it was just weird to see that. It's like, where's my demon hunter character? Because that's the character that I would play, and it's like, nope, you played as a barbarian. That's the one you leveled up to level 35.
That's because JD played as a demon hunter.
Because
right?
he played as a demon hunter. Took my class. What are you gonna do?
Genetically passed down. Sorry. He's claimed it. The new generation. They're always taking things, aren't they?
Oh yeah, but are you like that? Do you play a specific class across all games?
I tend to be kind of the stealthy or sniper class. Yeah, that's usually what I go for first, and then from that I'll figure out what else I like. But yeah, no, I mean I'm the same way. That's my niche in most of those games that have that option, and it's really hard to not play that way.
Yeah, I always figure if an enemy can get all the way to me, I've done my job wrong.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you pick kind of this character for yourself. That's what those games are about, right? Is kind of putting yourself into the game, and then when you try and put yourself into the game as something else, it's just weird. It's kind of awkward.
Yeah, but I do like games that force me to go a different direction. Like that was one of the good experiences I had in the Destiny beta. Was that secondary weapon that I could get. I typically play as a hunter, and it just seemed like natural to me that I would use the sniper rifle. It's not called the sniper rifle in that, but
No, there were sniper.
Was it sniper rifles?
Yeah,
Is that what they were classified as?
There was I mean your heavy, not special, but your heavy weapon. Yeah, there was sniper.
That's the third one, right? You have like two
there's a
weapons,
third
and then
one is the heavy,
one, and that's the heavy.
The third one's the heavy, your secondary weapon. Yeah, there was sniper, shotgun,
and I just didn't use it.
fusion.
I tended towards a rifle for my primary weapon, and then I would use a hand cannon, like one of the big pistols, for my secondary, and then I use the chain gun for my heavy weapon. Then
I love the feel of a good heavy pistol in a game. It just makes me feel like I'm in the middle of a western.
Yeah, Borderlands has a lot of good stuff like that, I think.
does.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like almost full pistols in Borderlands.
Yeah.
The acid kind of ruins the whole Old West feel, though.
The revolver in Contagion is a piece of junk.
You don't think in the OK Corral they had like fire enchanted weapons, and that would have ended it a lot faster,
Quick,
right?
slag him.
Whole town burned down, just one stray bullet.
You know, it's funny you say that because I was just thinking about that watching that Dragon Age trailer. Is like all the mayhem that's going on, how colorful it is. I don't know if the whole franchise is like that because I haven't played it, but I really do want to play it after seeing that trailer. Is I thought it's interesting to me that like this ancient time is getting better over time. Like it's getting more interesting as we like develop things in it, like new stories and things like that. Like it's an era that keeps getting better and better. So I realize it's not real. I just want to point that out.
Well, we know that now. Like 4,000 years from now, when they're looking back on this time, assuming humanity still exists, are they going to think that that was like historical fiction? Like, people used to have fire powers. It was amazing.
Yeah, and then
anthropologists will be so amazed by what humanity used to be.
And then it all went away.
Yeah, we just lost it. Technology replaced it.
Well, here's the thing: is in 4,000 years, maybe they will have all
That's
that.
true.
They'll have it back.
Technomancers.
Well, yeah, it's all science based. But what do they say? Once the science is sophisticated enough, it looks like magic.
Yeah, technology. Yeah. Well, they'll see the end of Game of Thrones, like season 8, when everybody's dead, and they'll assume that's just what happened. Every single person died.
So this was the last mass extinction event, and now we just moved on.
So we're basically taking like the premise of Galaxy Quest, but when we get into the future.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm sure that's what we do with the Egyptians. I'm sure it's just that was the best sitcom ever, was the person with the cat head. And we associate that as like some kind of actual relevance in their lives.
Yeah, those pyramids are actually just big projection screens. That's where they throw the movies at night.
That always makes me laugh when looking back at that stuff with hieroglyphics. It's like, oh, here's a hieroglyphic that clearly indicates an alien presence in Egypt. That must be what they're drawing. It's like, how come we're ignoring all the other drawings of people with like cat and dog heads? Like that isn't real. But this one thing, that's real.
That was the real thing. That's the true thing.
Yeah, that's not an interpretation.
Well, speaking of the Destiny beta, it got up to what, 4.6 million people playing concurrently.
Very cool.
They had an event on Saturday where if you played after it was 2 p.m. Pacific, they opened the moon for a limited period of time. That was the only time in the beta. You went to the moon.
I went to the moon.
Did you see a wizard?
I did see a wizard. I saw more than one wizard, I think. Moon wizards.
Or
maybe not.
The moon is lousy with wizards.
It really is. They gave it to the wizards. They say it.
So what is the deal? What was the bonus that you got for participating in the stress test?
I think it was just you get a new emblem.
Is that what it was?
See,
that's what I've heard. I haven't seen it.
Bernie was telling me he thought it was a ship, but I read the FAQ. See, I understand FAQ now.
That's right.
I read an in-game message that said that. And I think, and Gus pointed out to me, he said, I must have read that when Destiny ships, and you saw the word ship and thought we got a new ship.
Ooh, a ship!
Yeah. I get a new Destiny. No, but we actually delayed. We took a trip this weekend, and we delayed the trip by a couple hours, the road trip, in order for JD to log on.
Just to
during
get the
the
emblem.
so we can get the emblem. He's so friggin' excited
apparently
about Destiny.
4.6 million people will have the emblem, so, well, not necessarily, but I'm sure somewhere close to that, who it's not even going to be that special.
You know, it's interesting to me.
Wow,
Is like,
way to be a downer,
I know.
Ryan.
Hey, look, that's the reality of the situation. That's what this new story is about. You're not special.
you also can say that, but it's
Yeah.
like for like games that last a long time, like these 10-year games, it will become very special. I mean, I know it seems like 4.6 million, but then after a couple 6 months, a lot of people will drop out, and then new people will add in. Like there was stuff that seemed ubiquitous at the beginning of WoW. That 4 or 5 years into WoW, it's like, where did you get that? It's like everybody had that when they were logged on for this winter event.
Remember, there's the Murloc that people. I think it was a Murloc as a pet that people only got by attending like the first BlizzCon.
Gus has one.
There we go.
He busts it out every single time he wants to look important on his server.
Brag about it.
Yeah, he gathers a crowd.
Just saying.
He really does.
Do they dance and sing about him? Mm-hmm. Wow. All right.
Yeah, it's WoW. What do you do? It is funny too how much like screenshots and social media shares I saw from Destiny that were to me like things I only associate with MMOs, like people dancing in dance parties and like epic shots of people sitting. On the side of the tower and
Epic shots of people sitting.
Look, they're just showing off their freestyle sitting.
Did you see a lot of screenshots of people sitting? I did.
Saw no epic sitters.
Oh my god, I saw so many of those things. I thought it was like some kind of movement I was missing out, like they were protesting something.
It's the new planking.
Yeah.
They just couldn't be bothered to lay
Destiny
down
sit
straight.
in. We're not going to leave. The servers will stay up as long as we're sitting here.
I want to say
Pulling a
one thing
Halo.
about Destiny though before we get off of it, and that is a couple of months ago, they had a press event. And I thought that the press response to Destiny was pretty tepid, where they had a press event where they invited people up.
I would say it was mostly trending towards negative. A lot of it was saying like this doesn't look anything special.
Right.
Like this doesn't look like what you would expect Bungie's next thing to be. It doesn't, they were all saying it's underwhelming, which I was surprised by because I was at that event and I was going, this is awesome.
But this public beta was the exact opposite of that. I
Everyone
heard
loved
nothing but universal praise for people that were playing Destiny, which I think is a great sign.
Well, I mean, there's a big difference between looking at stills or looking at videos of something, getting your hands on it. I was not impressed really with the art.
The press did get their hands on it though.
That's true.
During that event.
I will say as well though that up until this beta, you didn't get to see a lot of the way the systems would fit together. It was drop into this mission here, and this is how this works. But it was like that's such a tiny slice of the game. It doesn't show how it fits in with the tower and how it fits in with the death match and how you can go out and explore the world. It was just like dropping this one thing and then kind of trying to explain the rest. But now you can actually see how the game fits together. It probably makes a lot more sense to a lot of people and much more natural.
They're feeling a lot more story now too. There was a lot more story in the beta than I had read about previously. Like there were cutscenes, which
There were, yeah.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I think from Destructoid in particular had a piece where they're talking about it's like there's too much secrecy surrounding this. It's like let's actually see some stuff, and I think the beta they rolled a lot of that stuff out.
I still
and
felt
people
very
loved
secretive. I mean, honestly, like they still didn't explain much to me about what's going on. Or, I mean, the game starts with you are being resurrected from the dead
in a traffic jam,
and then they just kind of, hey, you're alive now.
And now,
What?
and now you're a hero of Earth.
How?
and then you go get your ship and all that for one of those first quests. But at least there's like some storyline there, some sense of story. They gotta save something for the release, right? I mean, how many betas actually have story from the game?
Yes.
I remember
That's like, I mean, how do you get into a character that when he's been resurrected, his first question is, you did what now? I was, what? How am I here now? I mean, how does that not, if someone brought you back from the dead tomorrow, I'm not saying that anything bad's going to happen to you tonight.
Really, you are. That's exactly what you're saying.
But what would be your first question?
How did Ryan kill me last night? That would be my first question. No, well, they.
Do you think
when he
this
gets
hole will
resurrected,
heal?
was it? There's Fallen there, or there? Who's there? There's
There
something-
are, that's
yeah,
right. You are
coming-
kind of under attack.
Yeah, you come under attack very, very quickly.
Never ask the question again later, though.
Yeah.
But I was dead.
It's very important for every video game ever made that wherever you start the story, that it comes at a point at which the character has to run and then jump and then crouch. That's very important that you start a story at that point in the narrative.
It's true. Now you got to get your body back. You got to get back in fighting
Yeah.
shape.
But you also have to
Yeah.
talk to someone and let them know what you look like and
It's
what your
true.
name is.
And
You
also
got to
have
pass
look-
by that mirror, that reflects you, so you can. It's
and you,
me.
And you have
Yeah.
to look up at the earliest possible opportunity.
Yeah, I do love. There was something about, I think it was Skyrim. Someone did a bit from the perspective of the guards, watching the main character just like flip through faces and genders and colors
Like
and
contort.
species, and just like
What the hell
flying
is
through,
going
going, what
on?"
is this thing?
Which I think you
There's
start off
fun.
Skyrim in the back of a little cart, right?
Yeah, but then you get up to and you.
Oh, that's right,
can't
you
do
don't
anything
choose it there.
You get up to the guard and they go, "What's your name?
What are you
prisoner?"
before that, then?
And then you're
You're just like a lump of Play-Doh.
you're probably a wisp.
No one cares.
Well, as you know, I'm a huge fan of Bungie, and I love the game, so I'm really happy to see the enormously positive response that the beta received.
Yeah, and
Huge response.
after playing it, like JD doesn't care about anything else in the world now. He just
He didn't
cares
care about much
Destiny.
beforehand. I mean, he was pretty
That's
locked
true.
in on Destiny, so it is great to see him look forward to something so heavily, have him play it, and then still be looking forward to it. So that's good.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of the good works of Bungie, have you seen the new updated cinematics for the Halo Remastered?
I have.
Gosh, they're pretty.
You like them.
I like them.
I like them too. I like them a lot.
I think they're very, very pretty. Oh, Blur did all of the cinematics now, right?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. If you look back at Halo 2, I mean, even at the time, these are here
Yeah,
done
there
by
you go.
Blur. Like, here's Miranda Keyes. The characters were like, they were very rudimentary. I mean, they were, Blizzard at that time was probably the company that had the best cinematics in terms of
Square
visual
Enix
fidelity.
as well, though. Square Enix has
sorry.
always been known
Yeah.
for their crazy.
I mean, they're not
cinematics.
as good as Blizzard. But they're
And
all
Blur,
right there.
Blur was making stuff at the time. But Bungie did them all in house. They did them all in engine too.
They were all in engine. Yeah, that was the big difference.
So it's really interesting that when I saw characters in that fidelity at that point in time, so much of the characters was filled in with my own imagination because they were just lower fidelity. And to see them like somebody else's high-res vision for them. I mean, Cortana's gone through that many times over the years. But to see like Keyes go through that and to see Sergeant
Twice.
Johnson.
Keys went through it, and Johnson went through it twice.
Right.
I'm holding up 3 fingers. I don't know why, but twice.
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 The other finger's how you're going to kill me.
Thrice.
The
Third finger death punch.
At the end of that trailer, they have a little line by Sergeant Johnson, and I think for a lot of people, that was I've heard some people like I don't know how I feel about that, and I loved it. Like watching Sergeant Johnson get as close to photorealistic as if we've seen him before was really awesome.
I got to admit, this update, the last time they did it with Halo CE,
Halo CE, yeah, Halo Anniversary.
Halo Anniversary. Oh man, I thought they all looked terrible.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was
Really?
rough.
Did you see the
Especially
terminal
Captain
videos
Keyes was like
and all that?
Captain Keyes was not. No, I didn't see the terminal in that.
I mean,
I haven't
think-
ever played all the way through.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking about the
Anniversary.
Halo 4 terminal videos because a
Okay.
lot of the stuff, I think it was the same company that worked on the Halo 4 terminal videos, did a lot of the stuff for Halo Anniversary, I want to say as well.
Yeah, no, the Captain Keyes in Halo Anniversary, like that's pretty much all I saw of that game was the first level, and he didn't work for me at all. So
Yeah.
I haven't seen him yet in the remastered stuff.
Well, the Keys that I'm talking about is his daughter, Miranda
Right,
Keyes.
Miranda.
Because, spoiler, Keys is not in anything after Halo CE.
It's
About
true.
40 minutes in.
There's Keyes.
Wow, God.
It gets rough. It gets rough. It's okay. He gets resurrected in a traffic jam some point in the future. It happens.
Now he's fighting on behalf of the Traveler.
I'm gonna see who did those cinematics. Who did the? If you've never gone through and watched the those terminal videos from Halo 4, they really add a lot to the story.
I don't know if I can't remember if I have or not. I may have to go back through Halo 4 in preparation for remastered.
It gives you
And Guardians.
the story of the didact and the librarian.
Oh wait, yeah, I think I did.
Yeah, in greater detail. So
Well, luckily with the Master Chief Collection, you'll be able to play back through all of Master Chief's major stories.
That's true.
We're-
I can catch back up.
we're doing it. I mean, that's the other thing that we're looking forward to in our house is Destiny, and then the Halo Anniversary Collection, the Master Chief Collection.
Back to back, pretty much.
Gosh, it's gonna be a lot of FPFs this winter, late fall.
Well, speaking of everything that old is new again, Last of Us, PS4.
Oh my god!
Nice segue.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm really, really excited about that. And not so much for myself, but more so for all the people now that are going to get to play it. I'm hoping there's a lot more
But
new
are there a
PS4
lot?
owners. I don't know. Are there, right?
I mean, I guess there would be people who bought a 360, but then went the PS4 route instead of the Xbox One route. But like, what percentage of what percentage of PlayStation 4 owners is that? I wonder. Like, who has a PS4 who didn't have a PS3 and didn't play The Last of Us when it originally came out?
Well, I mean, they're trying to bring even the PS3 to PS4 people in by offering that trade-in, where if you bring in your PS3 copy, you get, what, $30 off PS4? A
Really?
PS4 copy of Last of Us?
How's it work for my digital copy that I have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guess your all digital life isn't working out so well today.
It would be interesting if that was a patch for it. Although I couldn't load up my digital copy on
You
my
mean
PS4.
the patch?
Yes. Well, I wouldn't be able to load up my digital copy of Last of Us on my PS4 because it's not compatible. But
Nope.
Yeah. Anyway, but I'm hoping there's a lot of people. I might be like scaling up our experience here at Rooster Teeth, which is most people here at Rooster Teeth have not played Last of Us. It's only a handful of us. Me,
Yeah,
you.
that's true.
Yeah, and you watched all the cinematics.
I basically played it, except without playing it at all.
Without the walking and the shooting
Yeah.
and the crafting.
Yeah, I just
And
got
the
the
leveling
nice.
up.
I just got the nice story parts.
Some,
Hey,
not
it's
all
worth
of them.
doing.
You level up.
Yeah, you get stuff, you unlock things, you characters and traits.
You build your character.
Cool.
I wouldn't know
There's
leveling
things.
up is the proper way to
It's
say it.
not
but yeah.
like you become level 10 survivor
Okay.
of the waste.
Okay,
There is
well,
a
unlocking new stuff
progression.
then, sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of points at which you level down significantly
That is true.
too. But that game is fantastic, and they just recently did a live performance of selected
Like 2
scenes.
days ago.
Yeah, in Santa Monica, and I'm actually really disappointed that I didn't hear about that.
It's
Oh, you would have liked to have seen
most
it?
of it's online.
I would
It's
Yes, it is online. You
they
can see
did
it.
they did like a live read of a lot of deleted scenes. They did performances of some of the music, and then they also did like an epilogue. Like here's a little vignette that takes place.
Don't say what.
vignette
Don't say
that
who's
takes place
involved with
after
it. Yeah.
the game, and it's just like. But that's the thing that I figured you might take issue with because you really liked the way the game ended and you were happy that it just cut right there. You didn't want to see anything else,
right.
right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm happy at the point at which the story ended. I'm very happy with the ending of that game, and we're just being careful because we don't do spoilers. 'Cause
No, I know.
it's
I'm not saying anything.
I know, but we don't want the audience to freak out on us. But
I will say I watched a little bit of that online, and it's kind of weird seeing the actor who plays Joel, the Joel voice coming out of him looking so youthful. Because I mean, you get a shot of younger Joel, but that guy just doesn't look as old and world weary as Joel from the game, and that voice and that appearance is really so cemented itself.
it fits him really, really well.
No,
That's
but
Troy
the-
Baker, by the way.
Yeah,
Troy Baker,
he's like the new hotshot of voice acting.
Yeah.
He was wasn't he also
Handsome
Bioshock
Jack.
Infinite?
Wasn't he Handsome Jack?
Let's see. He's been like everything lately.
Yeah. But he
He's like the new Nolan North.
Yeah, he is fantastic as Joel in this, and to me, it was harder to watch the actress who plays Ellie because she's significantly older than Ellie. But yeah, it's I would highly recommend not watching the live performance, which is available on archive on Twitch right now. I would not watch that before playing the game. We actually are really careful about that here at Rooster Teeth. Is that when we have a new voice actor for a role. I guess I've been more careful about it in the past of not revealing who's playing that part for as long as possible. Sometimes until that character has been on screen for as long as a season or at least 5 or 6 episodes because you want to associate, like you did with Last of Us, you want to associate the character with the voice, not the voice actor with playing a part. So that's the kind of thing where, if you think about that, them doing a live performance right before they're theoretically introducing this to a whole new audience. It's kind of a risky move in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it turns out that, by the way, looking this up, Troy Baker has been everything. Let's go down the list just a little bit. He is. He's
Joker?
gonna be Pagan Min in Far Cry 4.
Yeah.
He's gonna be Talion in Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor. He's Lyndon the Scoundrel in Diablo 3. And what's up? Or at least let's see what's up.
He's Joker in one of the Batman games, right?
Is he the new Joker as well?
He is. He's
think
going
you
to
may
be
be right.
Two-Face in Batman Arkham Knight.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Okay.
He's Delson for Infamous Second Son. He is Snow in Lightning Returns. He is the Joker for Batman Arkham Origins.
There it is.
There it
okay.
is, yeah.
And he did a tremendous
is-
job in that. Or at least I've only heard him read something prior to the game coming out, and he did a great homage, basically, to Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
but
he is Booker DeWitt.
he's Booker. That's
this-
right. That
this
did
dude
not
is-
click to you. Said
This
that.
dude is everything.
Yeah.
So they just, at San Diego Comic-Con, they announced that they're making a Last of Us movie.
Well, they announced it in like March.
Well, I read about it a ton. What was the announcement associated with Comic-Con?
That the actress from Game of Thrones who plays
Plays
Arya
Arya
Stark
Stark.
is in talks to play Ellie for the movie.
Is that what it is? Okay, see, that goes to my point here. And maybe not the actress who plays Ellie in Last of Us, but these actors weren't just voice actors. If you look at some of the behind-the-scenes footage for Last of Us, they were full motion capture, full performances. And, you can. There's actually a very, very silly alternate ending. Once you finish Last of Us, you can watch. They put it out. It's pretty silly. It's kind of a switcheroo. They call it an alternate ending, but it's not. It's kind of like an outtake blooper thing.
A spoof ending.
Yeah, but you at least get to see the process by which they made the game. So when they take these franchises and these popular titles from interactive video game titles and turn them into movies, like there was talks about them doing that with Uncharted a few years ago, and that might still be in development.
I think they're trying to get Mark Wahlberg now for
right.
that.
Mm-hmm. And I remember there was a big push at the time to get Nathan Fillion to play.
That push is
Nathan
mostly
Drake.
coming from me. What's up, Nathan?
I think Nathan Fillion
origin.
might have even gotten involved with it. And to me, it's like Nolan North is right there. That's the guy we all associate as Nathan Drake.
Yeah.
Why not take the guy we all associate and put him in that role? Because we all know him. And I would love to see Troy Baker play Joel
We
in
know
Last
him.
of Us.
But I think for when they take things to movie, they want names.
Yeah, and the voice doesn't always necessarily match the physicality, and that's where I think a lot of times it falls out
I
to
think
them.
that's where it comes in with Ellie, because Ashley Johnson I think she's 30, and they need someone who can be 14.
Yeah, it
You
just
know,
doesn't
and
match.
so the Neil Druckmann, who is doing the screenplay for it, and which is nice since he wrote the game as well, it is saying that he's like, in an ideal world, she'd be 14, but she's not.
Yeah.
So, but I think they're looking at putting them in the movie some other way instead, so that we can at least get the nod.
Oh, that'd be cool. Well, let me read this real quick. You've probably tried Hulu on your computer. Hulu Plus is so much more. Gavin, you waited for the ad read. You suck. I had to read. And you almost completely missed me. You hit a shirt. How terrible are you?
You hit it,
And you walked in front of a camera, you jackass.
and I missed it completely.
Hulu Plus is so much more. With Hulu
where it
Plus,
left off.
you watch shows on your schedule. Hulu Plus has all the current season episodes of your favorite shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Modern Family, and At Midnight with Rooster Teeth. And watch every episode of shows like South Park, Doctor Who, and American Dad. Hulu Plus works on your computer, smart TV, Roku, Apple TV, Xbox, pretty much any streaming device you already own. You can even watch on your phone or tablet on the train, at work, at the dentist, or in the bathroom. How do you like to watch? You guys?
It's true.
In the bathroom.
Laptop.
Bathroom?
I
Bathroom?
won't get into specifics.
Laptop, bathroom.
Laptop.
Okay, bathroom confirmed. You should be blocking off a day just to binge. With Hulu Plus, not in the bathroom.
Not
you
in the
can leave
bathroom.
the bathroom during the day.
It's gonna be a bad day.
Just to be clear. With Hulu Plus, you're in total control to stream these and thousands more as much as you want, whenever you want. You also get access to originals that you can't get anywhere else, the Criterion collection of movies, ad-free kid shows, plus anime and Korean dramas. It's probably all StarCraft based, I would imagine. But for only $7.99 a month, you get your
way to be
shows
stereotypical.
anytime, anywhere. It's the only thing in Korean I've ever seen. But
Not actually Korean, by the way.
right now, I'm offering my listeners, suck it. My listeners a 2-week free trial when you go to huluplus.com/patch. That's a whole extra week free. Please make sure you use huluplus.com/patch so you get an extended free trial and so that you know that we sent you. Well, I guess that I sent you because it's my listeners, not you.
Yes, Ryan.
The ones that you just told to suck it.
Yes.
Thank you
No,
for
I
inviting
told
us.
you to suck it.
Oh no, it sounded like you told the listeners to suck
No,
it.
the
That's what I
listeners
heard.
know what. Look, me and the listeners have got a thing going on. We're good.
This is the most controversial ad read of all time.
It helps us keep the lights on and gives you a better deal. One more time for the extended free trial, go to huluplus.com/patch.
One thing they have right now on Hulu Plus is the movie trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy, which will be interesting because I'm sure many people after that movie comes out next week will tell us that we were wrong, that it's a fantastic movie because it's getting nothing but rave reviews.
It is getting rave reviews. I want to see it because it's getting rave reviews and because I think the trailers look stupid.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Well, like I just look at it and I go, this looks like it looks so cheesy. How is this
It
going to be a
doesn't
thing?
take it so seriously. It's a comic.
But it's also getting rave reviews, so maybe the trailers just are not great and the whole thing really is. I'm going to go see it specifically because of that.
I'm going to go ahead and call that if you don't like the trailers, you're probably going to find the movie to be very reminiscent of the trailer. I haven't seen it, but I'm going to guess that that's pretty much the direction the movie's going.
Maybe not. I mean,
It's not like they're going to whip
How
back
can
the
it-
curtain and all of a sudden you get Shawshank Redemption.
God, I hope not. Star-Lord just spends 2 hours with a spoon. Digging.
That's how the whole thing is just them getting out of prison, and then the next movie will be saving the galaxy.
Yeah, which they already announced.
That's
They
true.
announced
They
it
have.
at Comic-Con, a sequel already, even before the first one's out. But we should talk about some games.
Yeah, so let's go back to the conversation about Nathan Fillion and people playing, characters from video games when
Or
they
we
come
could
to movies.
just go back to Nathan.
Well, we
Fillion.
can absolutely do that. 'Cause
There's a way to do both.
There's a Firefly.
Firefly.
What
Online.
is this? I'm not even familiar with this. It somehow is off my radar entirely.
It's an MMO that was announced years ago at this point. And
MMO.
It's
Okay.
an MMO that was announced years ago at this point, and it's going to be for like Windows and Mac and Linux, and also like Android.
Is it a
So
space combat one? Because
I think you get a ship. I don't know. I'm not looking into it too much because I don't think it's going to be great, and I don't want my little Firefly heart in here to get hurt.
I mean,
too
they've
much.
talked about it like it's kind of the way they
The
describe it.
graphics are not amazing.
It's
They
still,
it's dated and it hasn't even come out yet.
the way they talk about it is they very much pitch it as the sort of the quintessential Firefly sort of experience where you'd get a ship, you'd customize the ship, you have a crew, you have to deal with the crew, sort of in a pseudo Sims-esque kind of thing.
Yeah,
And
but
they got
how
the
s-
cast back
But
for
how
it.
snappy is the dialogue? Yeah, but if
They
that
got the whole cast.
if that cast isn't on my ship, what do I care? If I
Well,
have just a ship of like random dudes,
What they've said is that there's
Say it like it's a bad thing.
damn it, Stan, you're just not living up to the Firefly standards. There's no witty quips. But apparently they're going to there's an epic, that's how they're calling it, an epic story involving the original cast.
That is not a screenshot from the game.
No, that is actually
That is a screenshot from
totally
the movie.
from the
Serenity.
But that's a good way
but
to
that is
pitch
the
it.
that is the
We're-
ship.
we're
and it is
pushing
a
it, yeah.
Firefly class vessel.
It is.
It is.
You don't necessarily have to have one of those. But anyway, there's
I'm
gonna be
right,
an-
right? That is not from the game.
That is
it?
not from the
No.
game.
Okay.
No. There's an epic, which they very specifically said epic story that you can take part in.
How many times did they do this when they said epic? Because
There
you
was-
probably did it
wow.
no
there was
times.
actually air quotes in the story, I think. There was just a video of a guy going,
You had to download a new emoji to read it.
but no, if nothing else, just to get a small episode of Firefly again.
Yeah, but
It
I
seems
did that
like it
with
would
the
be one of
comics.
those.
You a Firefly fan?
I love
I
Firefly.
couldn't say it. I almost said it.
It's hard to say.
Firefly fan.
Firefly.
Yeah, no,
Firefly.
I ended up reading the comics
Ashley
just
is.
to get a little bit more.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I liked
How were
them.
those? I haven't read them.
Yeah, not bad. They were like episodes of Firefly.
I
just
assume
in
it takes
comic form.
place between the movies and the episodes.
Yes.
Okay. The movie.
Yeah, it does.
No plurality to that. Sorry.
Unfortunately, it tanked pretty bad.
Do you know that Joel was in talks to be cast? He was trying out for a part on Firefly before it was
Really?
canceled. Yep.
He could have been in
Ouch.
13 episodes of Awesome.
It's how I knew about the show. I was like, what sci-fi show? What Joss Whedon sci-fi show? He goes, oh, it's really popular. It's on the air right now.
It's going to cost $20 million an episode.
It's going to be as big as
that much.
It's going to be as big as Buffy. 12 episodes later, it was gone. Or was it 10 they aired
13.
online? Yeah.
Oh, no, you're right. They didn't air all 13. I think 10 or 11.
Out of order and everything else.
That was pretty weird.
Yeah.
Which I didn't actually see the series until after it was off the air, which is, one of the reasons it may have gone off the air was nobody saw
Possibly.
it till after it was off the air. But
I think it's a smart move. I think that there's enough Firefly fans out there. Did it right that time. And
Nice.
I think that they've tried it on
We all
TV
noticed.
and it didn't get the audiences it needed. They tried the movie and it did okay, but not enough to keep the franchise going. I think that audience, I'm just going to guess that there's a high crossover with that demographic and gamers. And so putting it out there in some kind of format where the story can continue, I think is a great thing. And I'm glad that people are getting their Firefly fix since they're Firefly fans.
They're Firefly fans.
nice.
I'm trying my best over here. It's
Those-
a lot of F's.
I mean, the cult hits really can build an audience that, while they may not be as numerous sometimes, are much more generous. I mean, to some extent, you could say Laser Team is kind of an
Well,
outgrowth of that.
they brought Veronica Mars back.
They did.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Thanks.
you
Good job,
get
fans.
that
And-
core audience.
Wasn't it Family Guy too? Family Guy
Family Guy,
went
yeah.
off the air, and
That
then
came back
it
'cause
was
of
such a it
DVD
did so well on
sales.
DVD that
Yeah.
that it came back. But that was again, fans made it a success again.
That's it. And that came back in the format that it was canceled in. It didn't come
Yeah.
back as a movie and didn't come back as a video game. I mean, it
Yeah.
was like, that's DVD sales. That's the language that Hollywood speaks very, very well.
Adult Swim, I think, is largely responsible for the return of Family Guy, not Firefly. Maybe if we got it Firefly on Adult Swim, we could get new
Welcome to
episodes.
the tongue twister edition of the past.
I
I just can't wait until when we have like 5 years from now, if the MMO takes off for Firefly, that we have the Firefly, the game, the movie. That's what I'm waiting for. It's going to be a whole new movie franchise that's based not on the TV show or the other movie, but just entirely on the MMO game.
And all the actors are 40
Featuring
years older than the movie.
Captain Stan.
Captain Stan. He's finally made it. He's worked hard. He put in his time under Ashley. Now he's ready for the big
He's
time.
got his own ship.
He fired me. or had a mutiny.
You got fired by your employee.
Honestly, it was probably a mutiny because I just hated them all so much.
It's a great world. I mean, the Firefly universe is a great one with the Reavers and everything else, and the different factions and everything. It seems tailor made for a video game. So who knows? Maybe it'll be great.
Oh, people are telling me that the Firefly comics may be set after the movie. So
really,
that could be a thing. I thought they were after the TV show because I thought that there were some people in there that wouldn't be after the movie, but maybe not.
Joel and Ellie.
Joel and Ellie.
They didn't make it. Sorry. Spoiled Firefly for you. Joel and Ellie, not alive.
The Traveler.
But the important thing I think there is that they did get the cast back, and I think that's a huge thing for people that are fans of that series.
It seems like the cast of that show have always been really pro that show.
Yeah.
Especially Nathan there's an F again.
You know what I think it is?
Nathan Fillion in Firefly.
I'm pretty sure that Firefly is the reason that people watch Castle.
Yeah.
They just watch him to be Nathan Fillion, who was Captain
Which
Mal.
there was an episode of Castle where he actually
dressed
went
up in
to
the costume.
as a Halloween costume.
Halloween.
Was in his Firefly costume.
It was great.
He was like a space cowboy or something.
I watched it a couple times. It was really great. He makes references all the time.
I feel
too.
compelled as the person who's not the Firefly fan here to draw you guys back to video games in some possible way.
Right, because we were on topic and you kept being like, let's talk about movies and TV shows.
I was not. I said we were talking about Last of Us, and I drew us over to the MMO based on Firefly.
Well, let's switch to things that are not as successful as they should be. Nintendo.
What in the
Nintendo.
hell? How did
Still losing.
They can't catch a break, can they?
$97 million loss this last quarter? $97 million loss.
Which is less. Is that less than their last quarter, though?
It has to be.
Like $97 million loss could be an upturn.
We're
Mario
less bad
Kart...
than we were before.
Yeah, it's an improvement. It's less loss. It was when Mario Kart 8 came out. I'm working from memory here, but didn't they double their Wii U sales when Mario Kart
more
launched?
than double. I think they went up like 200 some odd %. But that's in the last month. So they may have had a really, really, really crappy April and May. But they sold like 500,000 units of Wii U in the last 3 months. 500,000. That's not a lot.
Not making the
and
money.
most of those probably came from post Mario Kart 8. But Mario Kart 8 ended up selling. Hold on, let me look up the
2-point-something million copies, I think.
Which makes sense because honestly, if you've got a Wii U, you'd better have Mario Kart.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting to me about this is tying back to something we were talking about earlier is that Sony is directly marketing Last of Us Remastered as a welcome back to Wii owners, like people who abandoned the PlayStation 2 for the Wii, didn't get the PS3, and now they're back because the Wii U is foundering, basically. Is that right? I mean, did you read the same thing?
Well, so yeah, like what Sony basically said is like, yeah, we want all those people who didn't get an Xbox or a PlayStation last generation. Because it was one of the 100 million people who bought a Wii, and so they're trying to. That's one of the reasons a lot of PS3 games are coming to PS4, like The Last of Us, is they're trying to get that library there for the Wii people.
Yeah, because I mean there was a lot of people who bought a $200 to $250 console versus the $500 to $600 consoles last generation when they first launched.
Mario Kart sold 2.8 million.
2.8 million. What's the sales?
60% of Wii U software sold during the quarter was sold by Mario Kart 8 in the last month.
Wow.
I wonder what percentage of the install base that is. I mean, for just the Wii U.
That's almost half. I think the Wii U is now up to 6.8.
Even though
6.7, 6.8, something like that.
Even though I don't like it, and I want somebody to describe it to me who understands it. Even though I don't like this new movement for subscription services for publishers like EA and now Sony is doing one as well, I would actually really take a hard look at signing up for a Nintendo subscription service where I would have access to the full library of Nintendo games on a subscription level.
Nintendo can
like
never
Nintendo
do
through the
that.
ages.
They can't. They make so much money, right?
That's 90% of their sales is games you've already bought, right?
Catalog. Yeah,
pretty much. And then reselling you the next version of the game that you already bought.
Oh, that's just the Nintendo model. It's like, remember the Mario game? Here's the new generation of the same Mario game.
That's every franchise model.
It's true. Well, Nintendo has made a big business out of not just remaking the next game, the next sequel, but also remaking the game they already made. Like, how many Wind Wakers were there? How many?
2.
Okay, well, there's 2.
But that was like an HD remake, though. Are you going to say that about The Last of Us?
Name another Sony title that was an HD remake.
Or a Naughty Dog one. I mean, Nintendo, you got to admit that on a macro level, they have a handful of titles, or at least a dozen titles, and it's just like, here's the new platform. Which of the dozen titles will we get on this new platform? And then what was the last new Nintendo franchise that was introduced? Was it Pikmin? That was GameCube?
Yeah, Pikmin was GameCube. I'm sure there were a lot with Wii, like Wii Sports.
Yeah, if you want to call Wii Sports, yeah.
I don't think
it's the best-selling game of all time.
There really aren't any for Wii U at this point.
Yeah,
there's nothing new, and I don't think anyone's arguing that Nintendo could use some new franchises and new IP because that's the one thing that everyone is saying is do some new stuff. Although then there's me also over in the corner doing make another Metroid.
No, yeah, it's what people want. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. People love it.
Nintendo.
I agree. Yeah, no, this is not a bad model. Like to continue selling people new things. Like there are a lot of things that I wish I could get remakes of from the history of gaming on other platforms, PC and Xbox. I think it's a great idea because that's a title that was classic and people still want it. But it's really hard sometimes to go back and look at those games as they exist now.
Yeah.
It's hard to go backwards too far down the graphic spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying I would definitely pay for that subscription service to have like all things Nintendo. Those are titles that I want to revisit. All of those things.
Well, you're saying that because I guess EA has announced they're going to do that.
Someone please explain this to me.
Yeah.
So, do you understand this? Because I don't.
Yeah. So EA they've announced a service called EA Access.
Right.
And it's going to be a subscription-based, like Netflix for their games.
Netflix for EA games.
You pay $4.99 a month. And you get access to their library of titles. But it's not the full library. It's not it's not going to include Dragon Age, and it's not going to include Madden 15 or whatever.
Titanfall.
Or Titanfall.
I'm seeing very new games on that graphic that you're showing us,
Well,
though.
here's what it's going to show. Give me a second. I'm explaining stuff.
All
okay?
right.
What it's going to include from the beginning, because it's an Xbox One exclusive,
Yes.
is it's going to include like NFL 14 and NHL 14 and FIFA 14, and then you'll get access for like 5 days ahead of launch, like you basically a demo period for the new games, and then a 10% discount if you want to buy them.
Okay.
So I get the feeling that it's basically going to be access to their back catalog, like anything that's not out this year, then it goes into the service, and you can pay the $4.99 a month, and you can just play all those games as much as you want. And then if you want to buy one of the new ones, you get a 10% discount on them.
And you get the demos through the service.
5 days before the game comes
Will
out.
there be
but
no
we
more
don't
demos?
know what the game. Yeah, that's the one thing that kind of bothers me is the idea that means you are now paying for access to demos. But that's also going to come down to what their implementation is. Like if it's you have like here's the demo, it's the full game, you have 3 hours to play it, and then the progress that you make during that demo period would carry over to the full game if you decide to buy it.
That's cool.
But we don't know what it's going to be. They haven't outlined what the demo stuff is going to be like.
Well,
I was going to say UFC did hit the Xbox One. The demo was a paid demo. And there was a huge uproar about it. And they were like, oh, no, that was a mistake. Sorry, here it is for free. And it's like sometimes when you see those things that happen by accident, it kind of tips their hand a little bit about plans they have.
Test the water a little bit. Well, I suspect, though, what they were talking about is, though, if you have the subscription, you get early access to the demo that they will then release to general population.
We don't know.
I suspect.
Again, there was a little asterisk on that says like some limitations and conditions will apply. That's all it says. It doesn't outline anything.
And Sony took a look at it and said, we didn't think this was a good value for PlayStation owners.
Sony says they passed
so
on
we're going to do our own service.
Sort of. I mean, Sony hasn't said they are going to have subscriptions for PlayStation Now yet. So PlayStation Now is entering beta tomorrow. Well, open beta on PS4 specifically, which is weird because the beta started on PS3, but they've only announced open beta for PS4. Guess it's a new perk of the new generation. But the senior director for that was saying that he's looking at a flat subscription rate for that as well, which is good because you can pay like $3 to have access to a game for 4 hours.
So it's a rental service.
It's a rental service right now. And right now you're renting on a title by title basis.
4 hours.
Is that 4 hours like start to finish, or is that 4 hours of actual playtime?
I think it's 4 hours. I don't know.
Because that'd be super lame if it's like
I would assume
you have to go
it's 4
somewhere.
hours of playtime, but I don't know. Or you can pay like $30 for a game that came out in 2012 and have it for 90 days.
All of a sudden, your mom asking you to take out the trash is like, "You're costing me money. This is my game time."
Yeah. So I mean, Honestly, $3, insane. They say they're going to reduce some of the prices, like the starting prices down to $2, but even $2 for 4 hours of access is kind of a lot.
I just want to know, when is my PlayStation, when is my console at home going to have a USB thing that I can plug in where I can push quarters into it? That's what I want. I just want that.
The actual physical currency to make a return.
It sounds so dumb, but it's like, it makes me wonder, if we keep heading down these pathways, how are AAA major publishers going to compete with smaller indie devs when I can buy a game like FTL for $4 today? I can buy it and I can get, I mean, if I probably played that game 200 hours if I played 140 campaigns at 40 minutes apiece.
Yeah, but you don't expect it to be as deep. And it's not. I mean, it's not as deep as some of the big AAA titles. In terms
It's also not as flashy.
It's not as flashy.
You know,
true.
a lot of times, like, you pay for the flash. It takes big teams to make flash.
Yeah.
I mean, I like FTL a lot, but it's a very simple gameplay experience. You click, you click, you click, click. You do up on this, you do down on that. You move
It's
that guy
not, that's
around.
not unappealing to me, though.
It's not bad. No, that's
Yeah.
a good experience. It's a fun game, but it's not really robust in terms of gameplay mechanics.
Sure, I get it. I mean, I'm not comparing like Titanfall to FTL, you know, but some of the most popular games across all of video game history are games like Tetris.
Minecraft.
Yeah, Minecraft. There you go. Minecraft's a great example. You know, it just makes you wonder, if we see stuff like this and you have early access. I mean, not early access, have subscription fee. Are we going to start to see other things like early access on consoles, which we saw
We
like,
already
people
are
talking about it?
talking
Yeah.
about that. I mean,
Is that going to be part of that subscription service?
At this point, I think it's a matter of time before early access on consoles is a thing. That's
Yeah.
just what, like, that's just the direction that it's going.
And we just got through an early access look at a very popular franchise, Destiny. It's early access to the game. It's just called a beta because that implies that you get to play it for free. Early access is like taking that experience and then moving it behind a paywall.
It is, but early access is also like you could play the full game for Destiny
whatever
now.
they
It's
got.
just not finished.
And it just-
Beta's different.
it doesn't
beta,
shut off.
Beta ends and it's
Yeah.
a limited. Beta is like a small package that's supposed to be representative of the game. It's not the full game. So
testing.
that's sort of the difference to me.
With with early access, you kind of have the expectation that you get to keep whatever it was that you early accessed. They're
And
not
you-
going to
you
take
can-
it back. at
They
that
can't
point.
because you paid for it.
And from the
that's
time that
really
you bought it, you
good.
can
Yeah.
play it. Like, it doesn't. Yeah, you don't lose the access, and it's the full game. It's whatever has been made so far.
So yeah, no, it's going to be an interesting world here next year. It's the 360 evolution right after it launched for the first couple of years was such a weird change of how that whole system worked. So I think it'll be really interesting to see where PS4 and Xbox One go over the next year. How these subscriptions. The interesting note too of that EA subscription is they did point out at one point you still need Xbox Live Gold if you want to play multiplayer.
Well,
yeah,
sure.
well, they were actually really clear about it. Where I read a Joystick story about it, and Joystick said you would need Xbox, you would need Live Gold membership to do it, and then they were contacted by EA, and they explicitly told them you will only need Gold in order to play multiplayer.
For multiplayer, not
what-
access,
I
yeah.
think what they're trying to communicate there is that this is outside of the Gold experience. That you can have this and not have Gold. Wink. If you don't want to play multiplayer. So, and it's like, I don't know if like it's back catalog stuff. I don't always want to go back in a back catalog and play multiplayer. Those are always tough to find matches on anyway.
Well,
Right.
there may not be a back-end server for that, too.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
a
That's
lot
the
of that's
thing.
got to be down at this point.
Yeah,
But
you-
it would be perfect in the future for going back and playing things like Dragon Age Origins and 2 if you want to catch up before Inquisition. Not that those are available. They're not available on the service because it's Xbox One only. Maybe they'll roll it out to Xbox 360 as well later on, and then it would be, much more all-encompassing. But it would be a good way to hop into new franchises. Just go back and like play those on demand.
I'll be very curious to
part
see
of
where
that.
this goes, because when we talk about these things when they first come out, we have no idea how much impact they're going to have or not have. And it's easy to see how it could go either direction. So I'll be curious to see where subscription service for publishers is a year from now. It'll be very, very interesting.
Yeah, I would. It's weird, but I would rather see the subscription service be via platform rather than publisher because there's so many publishers. I want to have different subscription for EA and Ubisoft and Activision, and just like it just goes on and on and on and on and on from there.
The first thing it says to me is that I know no EA titles are going to end up as a free game on PS Plus or games for gold on Xbox. Those titles will never make it in there because they will go to the EA service and they won't go to the platform service.
Yeah, I mean that's what the publishers are trying to do. Like that's what EA is doing with Origin, right? They're taking a Steam-like digital delivery platform and pulling it in-house. That's what Ubisoft's doing with Uplay. They want to keep you in their publisher ecosystem. They want you to buy their games.
On a console, I don't even like logging into Uplay and the EA servers. I don't even like doing that. and to layer in another subscription service. It'll be interesting to see how much tractions get. That takes a totally different level of effort to bust out a credit card for it.
It's going to be either piles of cash or pitchforks by the end of next year, I imagine.
Yep.
All right. Well, that seems like a good place to wrap it up for today.
Well, we
Thank
have
you guys.
good way to go out on a high note.
Yeah. Talking about pitchforks.
Congratulations on your 4 wins on FTL. I'm very happy for you.
I believe in you.
He's
Burnie.
a little
very
bit.
happy.
He's a
You can
little
do it.
bitter.
You're going to make it this time.
I'll take
I know
my
you can.
one victory with Gus is none. So I'll be happy with that.
Tune in Monday for another episode of the RT podcast. I realize we never throw it back to them. They always throw it to us, and then we never say anything about it.
Gus does.
Them being you, you're also on that. But
That's all, Gus.
Them.
yeah, all Gus. So thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.